Yeah, I must ask, what was it like going to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway to finally get closure on your struggles? Tell me about what that was like.
Well, Doug, it was the scariest thing in my life I ever have done. And let me tell you, I've done a lot of scary things. I ran with the bulls in Pamplona, Spain. What else did I do?
Jumped out of a gondola.
I jumped out of a gondola. I bungee jumped backwards in Switzerland. You know, I'm an adrenaline junkie. I've done a lot of weird stuff. So where was I going with that? Coming here.
Coming here, yeah.
Yeah.
It was the scariest thing ever. And to be honest, I had to really plan out my time. Like, I could be out here for like 3 hours or so, but then I have to go back to my room and decompress. You know, I had a lot of anxiety, social anxiety. It was very overwhelming. I'm extremely sensitive, empathic, if you will, and all the energy at the track is a lot. I mean, have you ever been to the Indy 500?
No, but I hope to get there eventually. And that kind of reminds me of something that a previous guest said on our channel, on one of our episodes. His name is Jerry Trimble, and he's a world-famous kickboxer. He's also an anti-bullying advocate. He told Andy and I that his biggest fear growing up was a bully. And at one point, he started learning karate. And no matter what sport he joined, the bully was on the team, and so he couldn't escape him. And one time the bully got into an incident with him in a locker room and was pushing him into the lockers, challenging him about his karate skills. And what happened was Jerry, he realized he had to face his biggest fear. And
this was it. This was the moment.
Yeah, and the next thing that Jerry remembered was the bully, after pushing him into the lockers, the next thing he knew, he was on his back on the ground.
Yeah! He got karate chopped.
Yep.
Karate chop those bullies.
Yep.
Well, you know, Jerry, he's a great actor. He's a good friend of mine. I met him at the Beverly Hills Playhouse, and he was the detective in Heat with Al Pacino. He was the detective that had his arm in a sling. So, and Jerry was a world champion kickboxer. He's been posting a lot of his old stuff on Instagram now because he's doing anti-bullying talks. But he had the fastest. You got to watch it. He's called the Golden Boy. If you get a chance, check it out on YouTube. You watch him fight. He's got this back kick, like he swings round.
Oh, roundhouse. It's called a roundhouse.
Oh, yeah, but reverse, like backwards. And so quick. Like, he had the fastest kick back in the time. Like, it's incredible to watch. But he said during his, he didn't mention this on the series, but he had a lot of anger. And he said, I did unfortunately take a lot of that out in my fighting in the ring. He said, but I was with equal people. Yeah, you have to really. And I was going to ask you before, Doug jumps back on. Have you ever raced around the track yourself? Have you ever got in a car and driven?
Well, I actually, that's how Miles Ahead got started, was driving events here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And so Ted was part of the group of people actually that got me here in 2014. Wow. So he gets credit for that. Paul Powell started it. Ted jumped in, and then the president of the track jumped in. And
have you ever driven cars, Ted? Raced cars around the track yourself?
Yeah, I grew up wanting to be a racer in Indianapolis, and so when I got out of college, I raced for 2 years in the skip car. The Ford
he wanted to be Swede Savage.
Yeah, right. And then I found out that I was racing on some of the same tracks that Swede raced on.
Wow.
But I did actually get to drive at speed.
Yeah,
it depends on who you're talking to, what at speed means. But in our mini John Cooper Works that we use for our events, we had a driving event here, and I took it. So I've gone over the checkered line of bricks at speed behind the wheel. Yes. And you want to talk about a surreal experience, Dad was in the car.
Oh, I can imagine. Like, I mean, You know, I've been in fast cars, but nothing like that. I can just imagine what that would be like, and especially when everyone's on the track. Like I've heard some people go, yeah, but you know, the Indy, it just goes round in circles. I go, yeah, well, you jump in the car and see what that circle means, you know?
Okay,
I said, you'll forget about the circle real quick.
You know, it's not only all the energy that the cars are putting out, it's the energy of all the people, and everyone's lit up. I mean, the electromagnetic energy in this place on the race day, you have to promise you'll put it on your bucket list, because everybody has to see the Indy 500 live once in their life. Okay,
so I'm going to say right now that me and Doug are going to come together and see you guys down there. So we're going to organise that next year, because we've only met each other once, face to face.
That's amazing. In fact, we can show you our headquarters, miles ahead headquarters. Well, so I had my dad's stuff after he died. I had, you know, trunks of memorabilia, but I never opened it because it was too painful.
Oh, wow.
It was more like dad in a box over there, right?
Yeah.
But then after I came back and healed up a little, and I had the love and the support, I started looking in these trunks, and I had such amazing memorabilia that we've put together a small museum room at the Miles Ahead headquarters. We call it the Savage Suite, and we have my dad's stuff there. I'd love to invite you to please come and see it.
Oh yeah, no, we will.
When you come.
Yeah, for sure. That's 100%.
We even have a little apartment there. You can stay there.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
And I'd really like to probably have my soul shaken a little bit around the track. I'd be crying like a baby maybe, but you know.
Yeah. But Andy and I will definitely make the time to visit your headquarters. That'd be a great video for YouTube and just to meet you guys.
Oh, I love it. We could do a show if you want.
That'd be so awesome. Yeah. That would be awesome.
Yeah,
Ted, can you ask Ted some questions, Doug? Like, you know, I'd like to hear a bit of Ted's journey through this, you know?
For sure. Ted, I must ask, when did you become a fan of Swede Savage?
Well, it was I was in sixth grade, and Swede had already competed at Indy in 1972 when I was in fifth grade. But it wasn't until he started driving the number 40 STP oil treatment special, the famous number 40 in Dayglow red colors, that Andy Granatelli, who owned STP, and here Angela has her jacket.
My jacket.
STP jacket today.
It's vintage.
So I had become aware of STP as most kids did. STP was as ubiquitous back then as Red Bull is today.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
When Swede Savage started driving the number 40 STP car at Indy, I was like, I don't know who this guy is, but he
must be cool.
He must be something special, because, you know, only the top drivers get to drive that car. And so all during the month of May, he was always the fastest. And being from suburban Chicago originally, and Swede being from California with long blonde hair and very athletic, I mean, when you're from Chicago and you have to suffer through those horrible winters, California seems like a paradise. So here came Swede Savage, you know, blowing in from the Pacific coast, you know, being the fastest driver at Indy, and I just was blown away. And then I was fortunate enough to watch him break the track record in qualifying here at the Speedway, sitting in turn 4, 11 years old. And then wasn't here during the race, but I was listening to the race in my sixth grade classroom on the radio that I'd smuggled into the classroom. And then that's when I heard his crash. And then, you know, back then there was no internet. There was very little, you know,
no follow-up.
I couldn't really follow how he was doing. One morning in early July, you know, on the front page of the Chicago Tribune sports page, I read that he had died, and it just shattered my world. And I had no way of understanding what happened to the family after that. I mean, they just kind of disappeared. The racing series continued and went on. Back then, you know, when a driver was killed, and it wasn't that unusual back then, you know, everybody just moved on, and they just kind of swept it under the rug. And I just had this motivation to you know, find out more. And then when I read a book within a year after the race, by this time I was 12 years old, that said that Angela's mother was pregnant at the race and witnessed the crash from the grandstand. And when I heard that, my mind went to this baby. I'm like, how on earth does somebody grow up under those conditions? What does the mother do as a mother? How do you address that? And so Angela and I, 40 years later, by the Holy Spirit brought us together, and we've written a book all about not only her experience, but also my experience being separated from this child for 40 years. And now not only have we met, but now we're working together in the same company. So
that's just incredible. Like stories like that, like just divine intervention and meetups, and you just like, there is no accident. There is no, oh, that was lucky we met.
Yeah. I don't believe in coincidence.
Right.
Yeah, that's right. You know, like I have a lot of people, you know, law of attraction for me is very powerful. Like it's, you know, I'll give you one example. This is just one. There's a little, I've got something hanging there on the wall. It's from one of my Maori friends in New Zealand. It's a spear.
I love Maori, but I just had to say that. Love Maori. I always want to go to New Zealand.
You got to go there. You have to go to New Zealand. It's beautiful, you know.
That's my next stop.
And he's a big guy, right? Yeah, we met him on a film, so we became such good friends. And he gave me and my son this to put around our necks, this spearhead. And I looked at it the other day and I thought, oh wow, I haven't spoken to him for, it must be a year and a half, 2 years maybe. And I'm looking through Messenger and Facebook trying to find him, and I'm going, I know his name, but it wouldn't come up. And I went, that's weird. I couldn't think of his last name, and I'm putting in Stephen and Steve and nothing. The next day I get on Messenger, there's a message from Steve going, hey, how are you, man? Just thought I'd call you. I went, oh, you're not going to believe this, man.
He's like, loud and clear, yeah.
Yeah.
On the same frequency. It's a frequency.
Yeah, it is. It's 100%.
Secret.
Hey,
it's the secret.
I just have a quick question to ask.
Yes, sir.
I read about the 1973 race, and I learned that part of the reason the race was rain shortened or scheduled on rainy days was partly because IndyCar back then had a never on a Sunday policy for the race. And it's kind of a shame because that day, from what I read, was actually very sunny and they could have gotten the race in. Did that ever come to your mind at all?
I didn't know that, Doug. You just taught me that. I didn't know.
Actually, that 73 was the last year that they ran the race on Memorial Day, which was Monday. And that's why they ended up with so many problems trying to get the race in. The original race was scheduled for Monday, not Sunday. And the very next year, 1974, is when they changed all that. And it's been that way ever since. It's been on the Sunday before Memorial Day observed ever since.
Wow. Yeah, look, we have sort of run out of time, but, you know, what an incredible story. And look, we really love you guys to, Doug, I'll hand it back to him again, and he's probably got a couple more questions before we finish, but definitely send us the details of everything you do with your driving around the country, your book and all that, and Doug will put all that into, when he edits the program, he'll put it all up there. So, and we'll keep in touch, you know, like,
I'd love that.
Keep in touch.
I love that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And before we go, I want to say to my fan base on YouTube that the 1973 race was a cautionary tale for a lot of things when it comes to motor racing safety and a lot of other things. Like, the winner was Gordon Johncock. And even though he said afterwards in his interview that it was the greatest day of his life, you could tell by his emotions that he didn't.
They didn't even have a celebration party. It was really, some people said it was the only year God took his hand off the race. You know, the whole thing was just tragic for so many reasons. But some of the, something that I get from that is that because of my dad's crash, there were a lot of things that changed in the safety category. So my dad gave his life to save a lot of other lives, and I can take some comfort in that.
Yeah.
And it's, you're right. And Andy Granatelli said it best afterwards. He was like, I'm happy for Gordy, but this was an ugly day.
You know, Gordon was my dad's teammate. He had the matching car. He was the 20 and my dad was the 40.
And there was panic on the number 60 car, the third car, who was struck and killed in the pit lane by a fire truck during the race.
So get this, my dad's car blows up and somebody from the crew goes running towards Swede, and the fire truck that was also going to Swede hit him. And so he ragdolled up in the air, dead immediately in front of everybody. I mean, it was like hell. It was like hell here that year.
Yeah.
And coming out, being born out of something like that, forged in fire, right?
Well, it's like you said before, 9/11, like the same thing. The mothers that had child in womb at that time, and what you went through, you really get how what it would do to your mum and everybody else watching that, let alone someone who's pregnant. And who knows who else was there that was pregnant that had nothing to do with the race except just watching. Who else knows what that kid went through, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
Wow, I've never thought of that. And just the thought of that is really inspiring to me. I sort of like, the posthumous children are my people now. I know that. And so I'm drawn to them. Like, I almost want to reach out and find some of these 9/11 kids just to say, hey, we're brothers. You know, we're soul brothers and sisters.
Yeah, because post-traumatic stress is post-traumatic stress, whatever it's from.
That's right.
And that's right. Well, maybe that's something that you can reach out.
You know, some people think post-PTSD is only for people who have experienced combat, but that's not the truth. It's for anybody that has experienced a traumatic event, and it jerks your chain, man. It changes you on a molecular level, you know. It fries the nerves. I'm drawn to these people because they understand me and I understand them, and I'd love to like form a group of some sort.
Yeah. Well, look, you never know what happens out of this once we start posting it on social media and that. It's amazing what attraction it's bringing in now. Like, people are starting to watch the series, and it's got so many different you know, topics in there that it's really opening up now. And you're bringing in people from the fighting world. Like, we interviewed all these fighters, you know, ex-world champions, and then we're dealing with people who are hearing and vision impaired and then physically impacted through accidents, training for the Olympic Games, and get hit by a truck, you know, and next thing she's sharing her story and then your story. So it's not, it sounds, some of it sounds dark, but it's not all about that. It's just about what you can help to inspire people, you know.
Well, we know that you can't have light without the dark.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But but we can pump up that light side right now, because I think the whole world needs it.
Sure does.
It's time to turn it up, turn up the love light.
Yeah, you know, sure does.
The whole planet.
And I don't know if you guys have got them down there, but I've been, where is it? I've been riding with Bikers for Christ for probably nearly 4 years now. It's that's our little 777. Is one of their flows. But I'm with the South Bay chapter, but they're pretty much all over the States. Bikers for Christ, BFC, they're everywhere. But I love their logo because there's a lot of ex-vets. There's a lot of machine heads, you know, a lot of motor heads in there because they love bikes and things. But you know what? The thing is, what I love is they're saying is they go, saved, not soft. I love that.
I missed it because of the IndyCars.
Oh, sorry.
You hear the race cars?
Oh, they running around the track?
They're practicing right now.
Oh, awesome. Man. They're saying, one of their sayings is saved, not soft. I love that.
I love that.
Yeah.
Saved, not soft?
Yes, saved, not soft.
I love it. I love that.
Oh, I can hear them. Oh, I thought I did.
I'll tell you, they're coming around. They're on the other side, but they'll be here in listen. Here they come.
We're hearing them coming down the main straight.
Here we go. Listen.
About 6 of them out there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's awesome.
We'll get there soon, Andy.
Yeah, no, I'm just going to say, Doug, we're coming. We're coming.
And we'll try next year.
I can't wait to see you guys next year and see how you light up on race day, because you have to get ready, because everybody just lit up. We're all turned up to 11, and you can feel it. You know, there's electricity in the air. It's magic.
Oh, I can't wait. I'm lit up already. I'm ready to go now.
I know, me too. Oh.
All righty. I want to thank all of my guests for joining. We've run out of time, but we will get to the Indianapolis 500 soon, Andy, with these great people.
Oh, yeah, we're coming.
Next year. You said next year.
Yeah, next year. Yeah.
I'm holding to it.
Yeah, we've said it on social media. We're coming next year.
That's right. That's
so
right.
I will start saving for it.
Good.
Hey,
Don't
thanks,
worry, we'll get you here.
Ted and Angela. Thanks. Really wonderful talking to you both. You know, what a great divine meeting you two have created. Like, just incredible.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, God bless, and stay in touch. We'll see you soon.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
And followers.
Thanks, Doug.
Thanks, Angela. And followers, whenever you have a chance, please check out my book, The Amazing Comeback of an Autistic Spokesperson, which was in the top 15 in the United Kingdom and the top 300 at one point this year.
Yeah, checkered flag for Doug. Woo!
So thank you all, and we'll see you next time on Being Relentless and Unstoppable.
That's what we are.